welcome back to Naughty Boy Fight Picks. This is my UFC Fight Night 141, I believe, Beijing picks and predictions video. Obviously I didn't do a recap for Argentina, but like I said last week, I did take notes during the fight, so I had real comprehensive feedback on the event, and then didn't end up doing one because I couldn't be fucked. And have lots going on, which you'll kind of know about soon, which brings me to news. Fuck, sorry, I forgot to put my phone on flight mode. We may just have to live with that, or can I? Fuck it. So, this is, obviously this week's video. Don't think I'm going to be able to do a recap for this week, due to I'll be moving country next week, but it'll either be the video after that, so picks and predictions for Adelaide, or the recap for Adelaide, where I'll be introducing my new co-host and moving on from the podcast in a new direction with better equipment, a co-host which makes it heaps better, and yeah, but I'll introduce that person when the time comes and all those other bits and pieces. But it's quite exciting for me. Gonna actually make a decent fist of this and make it hopefully something worth listening to. I just think talking to the camera is fucking stale. If you have another person there, it can be far more interesting. So here's hoping that's what happens. Bad jokes and MMA news. Just quickly recapping Argentina, what we see there, cool crowd. The event, I think it started off with like 5 decisions, which was dull. Some of the fights were okay though. Some, like, once again, those flyweight fights. Each time you watch one now, you're... Fucking hell, sorry. Each time you watch one of those, you're... you feel a bit sad that the division's going away. Highlights from the card, Johnny Walker, or overall, so I took a loss again, lost 1.5 units. That sucked, but I did cash on Johnny Walker, the big dog. Wish I put some more money on him. He was really impressive and scary and strange as well. He seems like a bizarre character, like perhaps someone you wouldn't want to spend time around, but is exciting to have in the UFC. 205, he could give dudes fits, man. Like, he looks really athletic, fast, and that frame is going to give dudes trouble. And that's kind of what I predicted for that fight. I didn't think, what's his name, Roundtree had the skills or experience to work around that frame, especially a guy with that kind of athleticism and that elbow. That stayed with me for, like, I was thinking about that elbow way later on into the night, just freaking out about it. It was so vicious. And yeah, his clinch game, scary. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Lots of matchups. They could have him beat up like, I don't know, Volante, Alvi, any of those dudes. Then a few parallels I thought between the co-main and main. I thought Lamas and Ponzinibbio both fought like aggressive fights, yet they kept themselves really safe. Really quite savvy game plans from both of them. Ponzinibbio looked really impressive, and Magny looked exactly how he looked in the fight against Lorenz Larkin, which is kind of what I predicted. Just Larkin like demolished him quicker, but he just had nothing for Pons, and Ponzinibbio had me wondering, is that one of the best jabs in the UFC? His jab is so fast and precise, man. It's such a good weapon. And made me start wondering what a Woodley fight would look like, because he's good at getting guys on the cage, but, you know, a lot of people, once they get Woodley there, they're worried about that power and they don't really get anything off. But wonder if Pons would be able to get that jab off on him. We shall see, maybe. Like, he ain't there yet. I think he probably needs another fight or two. But real good showing for him, and yeah, horrible for Magny. Any other major points? Nah, not really. Let's rip into this Beijing card. The the fucking fight card isn't ordered correctly, or all the fights aren't even up on the UFC site, so I'm not sure what the order is, but I'll go through. I did Phillips and Holland and Smoker versus Sumadaji first, because I'm not sure where they're slotting those in, but yeah, we'll have a look at those. Where are we? Oh fuck, so I don't even have their stats up and shit. But anyhow, we'll just do these, rip through these first two without the stats and whatnot. So, oh fuck, I don't even know their full names either. Sorry. So Phillips versus Holland. Phillips, SBG guy, lost his debut to Charles Bird in the first round. He looks pretty trash, to be honest. Perhaps a case of that gym having a bit of weight, so getting him in the UFC. That's how it looks, at least to me. Holland, obviously long and weird. He had that, gave Santos it's hard, I don't know if you call it a competitive fight, but I mean, he stayed in there with like a scary and dangerous guy like Santos. He won on Contender Series. Phillips does look like he has some power, so he's what do you have? I think he had like 18 knockouts out of 21 wins or something ridiculous. So he does have that power, but I think Holland is gonna be too weird and tricky for him, and I'm picking Holland by a KO. Next fight, although I don't know whether it's the next fight or not, but Louis Smoker versus Sumadaji, don't know how to say that, and his first name is his last name, which is kind of badass. So Smoker's had a really up and down career, long career in the UFC. Started out pretty strong. I think he looked kind of promising, went on a winning streak, went on a big losing streak, got dropped, and he's been away and won a couple fights in lesser organizations. Yeah, so he's back for this fight, and I haven't looked into it, but it would seem that the reason is he's just got a short notice call up and he filled in, which is odd. You'd think they'd get someone on the roster, so I don't know what the reasons are, but he's back. Sumadaji, please forgive that pronunciation, no idea how to say it. I think he's Tibetan, right? Managed to find some footage on him, which can be difficult with these debuting fighters from this area, from China. Well, he's from Tibet, but he looks really accurate and powerful. Like fights I watched, dudes were throwing straight punches and he was countering with these real powerful hooks, and they looked so accurate, which was interesting. The level of competition may not be that great, so that's something to take into consideration, but Smoker is susceptible to getting hit, so I was kind of tempted to bet this, but yeah, it's just hard to tell what you're looking at when you're looking at the Chinese regional scene or Asian regional scene, so I'm just going to leave it alone, but I am picking Sumadaji by KO there. Okay, so next up, what looks to be, to me, according to the UFC website, the first fight of the night. We have Yan Xiaonan versus Suri Condo. Xiaonan 8-1, Condo 6-1. Shaolin with a lot of KOs on record and an impressive run in the UFC thus far. Was it her debut on the last one? Shaolin's a well-schooled power striker. She has a real wide array of attacks. She does look a bit flat-footed, so I don't know, not in this fight, but future fights perhaps watch for opponents to kick her leg out. But yeah, Condo is more flat-footed than her, so not too much of a concern. By flat-footed, I mean she's kind of very planted. Yeah, Condo looks really awkward on her feet, like just that. You'll see it a lot, and so her fight with, who was it? I forget which fight it was, but it was just It was pretty terrible striking exchange between her and another woman. They just kind of charged into each other and winged hooks, and yeah. Condo obviously got taken out by Battaglio really quickly with that body kick. So other fights she's looked tough, but she looked really fragile there. But I guess that's the nature of taking a big shot to the body, and Battaglio is powerful. Condo looks super unathletic. Just kind of marches forward, but I don't think that's going to work versus Shaolin. I think Shaolin's power is going to put an end to that at some point. And yeah, it should be a clinic on the feet. So Shaolin by a finish there. She does have some subs, I believe, so she may hurt her, then grab a sub, or just straight knock her out. But yeah, pretty confident in that one. I think I got Shaolin and some parlays. Next fight of the night, according to the UFC website, is Pingwang Lu versus Martin Day. Pingwang 11-5 out of China. Martin Day 5-2. What we got here? So Pingwang's from the same team as Sonya Dong. Those guys had a debut win over Damian Stasiak. He's on a big winning streak, eight wins in a row now. They lost on the Contender Series, but he does look like a decent striker. Also looks like he has some wrestling, which he may be able to use here. And the odds are really wide on this, and so I don't want to bet it at all, because I think it may be a bit closer than the odds suggest, but I'm going to pick Ping Yuan by decision in that one. Next fight up, we have Welly Zhang versus Jessica Aguilar. Yeah, Zhang 17-1, Aguilar 20-6. This could be pretty fucking horrible. Zhang has won 17 in a row. Aguilar's old. Zhang fought 7 times last year and got 6 finishes. Zhang looks kind of susceptible to a takedown though, but she does have some subs off her back. Not too much to say about this one, but I wouldn't fucking bet it. Gonna favour Zhang here though, but yeah, I don't like these odds for such an untested fighter. What do we got next? Next fight up, Hu Yaozong versus Rashad Coulter. Heaps of bettors talking about this on Twitter and whatnot, because obviously if you see Rashad Coulter on a card, you're looking if you can bet against him, especially if he's... What were the odds on this? Coulter, where is he? Yeah, so Coulter's a favourite, but fucking, what's his name? Yao Zong is 3-1. So yeah, I can't. I don't know. You could take a gamble. I think some people are, but yeah. Also, Yazong lost to Cyril Asker in his debut, and yeah, just the 4 pro fights. Then again, he is fighting Rashad Coulter, who gasses like walking up the stairs of the octagon. Fucking just throwing shit in the wind here, but I'm gonna bet. Oh, not bet. Fuck, excuse me. I'm gonna pick Coulter to win. Yeah, let's go with that. Next fight of the night, Wu Yunan. Fuck, I'm bad with these names. I need to improve. Versus Lauren Mueller. Yunan is 9-2. Lauren Mueller 6-0. What do we got here? Yeah, Mueller's a huge favourite here, but she's also rather untested, so was not particularly interested in this fight. Gonna pick Mueller by decision, but yeah, not betting it and not interested. Next fight up. Now we got some action. Song Kenan versus Alex Morono. Kenan 13-4, Morono 14-5. So a couple decent looking sort of records. This fight at welterweight, of course. Morono's last win was over Berkman, so, and that was Berkman's 5th loss in a row. Morono's durable. He's only been finished once. He, however, he hasn't really been facing like known KO artists. And when he did against Nico Price, Price knocked him out. But that fight was ruled a no contest for, was it positive test or something? Excuse me. Morono's got good looking leg kicks. But yeah, he has just the one finish in 6 UFC fights. Kenan Song, or Song Kenan, I forget the order. He's got 3 decisions in his career and he's lost 2 of them, so a bit of a concern there. Has 2 UFC wins, but neither of those opponents he's won against have any UFC wins. So those 2 opponents combined are 0-5 in the UFC. Kenan has 9 first round finishes. He did, to be fair to him, he blasted both of those opponents in the UFC. He's big, strong and powerful. His only KO loss in his career is to Israel Adesanya, interestingly. I think Morono might be able to land that leg kick, but Song looks to have the counter to that, so yeah, he may pay the price if he goes after that leg. I'm picking Song here by KO round 1 or round 2 pretty early. I think he gets it done. Contemplated betting Kenan, but yeah, just he hasn't fought like a good opponent in the UFC yet, so we'll wait and see. Next fight of the night, Li Jingliang, the Leech, versus David Sawada. The Leech 14-5, Sawada 16-4. Fighting out of Germany, pretty good KO ratio in his career. Yeah, so Zawada is very aggressive, does tend to lunge in to his shots with his head straight up. So I think he's had the one UFC fight against Roberts, and he did appear to rattle Roberts a bit with that style of just kind of like leaping in and forcing him backwards, making it pretty scrappy. Leech isn't opposed to a scrappy fight, but I think like the way he's looked, or especially the way he looked in this last fight, he came out and kind of controlled things and he looked a lot more composed. He's pretty experienced now, and I think he'll be able to do that here. He looked good for the 3 rounds in that fight too, like he was turning up as the fight went on. Sorry, I was saying Zawada looked good for the 3 rounds, cardio-wise, gas-wise. His went through his record and his wins prior to the UFC all against kind of European circuit guys with unimpressive records. So yeah, there's that, and then lost his debut to Danny Roberts, who's like got nice boxing and stuff. But yeah, Jingliang, he's 5-1 in his last 6 fights. He had that one slip up with Jake Matthews, and that was a really improved looking Jake Matthews. So, and then he came back looking improved after that. So I like the fact that he appears to have made some adjustments. He's only ever been subbed once because he eye pokes his way out of submissions. He's got real heavy leg kicks. In his last fight, I noticed he was throwing the jab to the body a lot, which is a nice addition to his repertoire. He looked more measured in that fight, a lot less wild stuff. He's got a really nice counter hook that he always looks to land, and I think he might be able to clean Zawada up with that as he rushes in. Jingliang, interestingly, also 4 of his 5 career KOs have all come in the UFC, so he's improved in terms of hurting people once he got to the upper levels. So having said that though, I think Zawada is durable, and I'm going to pick the Leech by decision. I think he can just control this fight, control the distance and land the heavier shots, do more damage. Next fight up, Sonya versus Vince Morales. Won money on Yadong in his last fight. He's 12-3. Morales is 7-1, with a lot of fucking KOs in that 7. Um, Morales lost on the Contender Series, came back, got a win in Bellator. Yeah, he ducks his head a lot, and his opponent in Contender Series, forget the guy's name, but he picked up on that and just kept fucking drilling him with uppercuts. Like, he just kept eating it and like didn't adjust, which was really strange to see. He looks to have some good power, throws bombs, but he does appear to have some gaps on the ground. So what I saw, if he gets on the ground, people advance position on him with relative looking ease, and all his losses are by submission. When I say all, I think he has 2 on his record, yeah. Sonya Dong, he's fast and powerful. He's got really sharp counters. He's got a nice slipping counter. So he stays quite, he's pretty happy in the pocket, and his eyes open, and he'll slip and then throw the counter like he's always looking to counter. Unlike a lot of counter punchers, he leads well, so he really mixes it up. He's, it's real frustrating when you watch a good counter puncher and they're just waiting for someone to throw, and they're not like drawing any attack out with feints or whatnot. But Song stays real busy, so I think I get the inkling he prefers to counter, but he will lead, and it's not like, it looks natural as well. It's not like he's forcing it, so there's not a massive gap. He doesn't leave those huge gaps that a lot of counter punchers do. So, and he looks equally good whether countering or leading, which is a great skill to have, I think. He's 2-0 in the UFC with 2 finishes. His last win was over, what's his name, Aranches, who's a pretty experienced guy, not the greatest record, but he's been around the UFC for a long time and had a reasonable number of wins in the UFC. And one thing watching Song Yadong again that I really loved was like kind of his ability to change the tempo of the fight. So in spurts, he will just like really up the ante on his opponent and make them really fucking uncomfortable, and it must be a horrible feeling to be his opponent when he does that, because it usually comes after like a period of success where he's landing some shots in his more kind of patient, measured approach, and then he just fucking turns it up to 100 and just starts blasting you, and the attacks are real diverse, so it's really hard to read what might be coming. In this fight, I'm thinking Song Yadong's gonna hurt him and then jump on a sub on the ground. So Yadong by submission there. I might look at that prop because it could pay well. If it does, I might have a stab at that. Next fight of the night, co-main event, Alistair Overeem versus Sergey Pavlovich. Overeem 43-17. So he's had, and a no contest. So he's 61 professional MMA fights. That's fucking crazy. Sergey Pavlovich, a Russian guy. I think he's out of, what's it called, Eagles MMA, Habib's camp. He's 12-0. He has a bunch of knockouts in that record. Kind of smallish heavyweight. I think he comes in around 235. So he's not huge, but yeah, and he's making his debut here against the very experienced Overeem. Yeah, so Pavlovich looks like a small heavyweight. He's 12-0. Went through his record, and the competition he's faced looks pretty average, although heavyweight records can look like that. So he's probably fought some pretty tough guys, but they ain't Alistair Overeem. He's got 9 KOs out of those 12 wins. Really fast hands. He looks like, I think he has a Muay Thai background. But yeah, one thing I know, real nice jab too. Really lovely jab. One thing I noticed is that in all his fights, so I searched through heaps and I couldn't find one where his opponent was bigger than him. All his opponents were smaller than him despite being a small heavyweight. And he was like, being a well-schooled striker, he was standing on the end of range and kind of maintaining that range through all those fights, and that seems to be his comfort zone. But I don't think that's a good way to fight Overeem. Like, you either want to move right in on him or particularly if you're smaller than him, because he will land those massive kicks on you from distance, and that's his game, and he's going to be much bigger here. Yeah, I put a play on Overeem, which is scary as fuck for obvious reasons. He's an idiot and he does dumb shit, but I don't know. I think this is just a real tall order for a guy debuting with not a huge amount of experience, and yeah, without having really faced any like top flight competition. So yeah, I think Reem's just going to cook him from range here, land those kicks, and I think it's just going to be too big a spot. Pavlovich could hurt Reem. Obviously, he's known for being chinny, but yeah, I think Reem's going to cook him, drop him with something, and might jump on a sub here. We shall see. So, Overeem by submission. And then the final fight of the night, Curtis Blaydes versus Francis Ngannou. Blaydes 10-1. That one being a doctor's stoppage loss to Francis Ngannou. Ngannou 11-3. So both relatively fresh guys who kind of catapulted to the top of this division. Ngannou more so. When they met, how long ago was that? Let's have a... Oh, I can't. When they met, they're both pretty new to the UFC. And it was so it went the 2 rounds, and I think you would have had to have scored it for Ngannou, who was doing more damage. But yeah, Blaydes definitely had avenues, and so what has transpired since, I think Ngannou shot up real high and then had that setback to Stipe, then obviously had the fight with Lewis where he looked like a different guy. But in my mind, I thought that he looked like a far different guy, but if you go back and watch this first fight, he doesn't. He's like patient, he kind of waits on his opponent a lot, tries not to use much gas even back then. So I think the Lewis fight was just his usual style, kind of combined with what had happened in the Stipe fight, like him saying he's traumatized and whatnot. So all that's happened with Ngannou, and in the meanwhile, Blaydes has just been winning and looking better each time out. He looks like his gas tank has improved, which should be crucial in this fight. His striking has improved, and he's landing a jab like at will against Ngannou in their first fight, and I can only imagine that's improved. And he was landing the leg kicks a lot too, but I think Ngannou might have checked one and hurt him, and he stopped throwing those, but he's still landing the jab. So yeah, I don't know. I think if he can get Ngannou worried about that jab and then fake the jab, shoot the takedown, this should be Blaydes' fight. Even I think if we see a rejuvenated Ngannou, I think even if Ngannou comes out urgent, which he may do in this fight, given what has happened recently, that will play against him. I think he's better kind of being a bit more measured and picking his shots. But yeah, so if he comes out aggressive, he's probably just going to get taken down and gassed on his back again. Blaydes, interestingly, couldn't keep him down in that last fight. He had a difficult time keeping him on the ground. He did score takedowns, but yeah, Ngannou obviously is huge and strong, and it takes a lot of effort to keep him on the ground. But I think if it turns into that sort of fight, I think Blaydes got a better gas tank than Stipe, and Stipe managed it. So we shall see. My pick here, it's 5 rounds, eh? Blaydes display that nasty ground and pound. So yeah, I fancy Blaydes get a finish. I think at some point Ngannou's going to gas. That's the other thing too, is no one had seen anyone do that to Ngannou when they fought last time. Now the blueprint's kind of out. Yeah, I think Blaydes can follow that game plan. So I'm going to pick Blaydes to ground and pound, TKO stoppage, Ngannou maybe in the 3rd or 4th. So that's all my picks for this card. I'll run through my bets just quickly. I got Alistair Overeem at $2.06. Got 3 units on him. Then I got 4 units on the Leech at $1.71. Uh, yeah, I trust the Leech. He's a winner, man. He's 5-1 in his last 6. So, but yeah, Overeem's a bit of a scary one. Parlays I got Blades parlayed with Ponzinibbio and Gedalia for the fights in a couple weeks. Then I got Ponzinibbio and Blades parlayed. Then I've got, so I had the last week Ponzinibbio and Magny and Roundtree Johnny Walker fights don't go decision parlayed with Yadong Song for this week, and then I've got Song and Shaolin parlayed for 5 units. That one, pretty confident in that. We'll have a look at some other plays later in the week. But yeah, that's about it. What I have to say, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Keep watching too, because things are about to change and we're about to make this good. I'm real excited about that. Good luck with your bets this week. I know I'm going to win some money this week. I'm fucking like 100% positive. So feeling good, get back on the winning track, and then looking forward to UFC Adelaide. I'm just waiting for those odds to come out, but I think I've got some good plays if I'm reading what the bookies are going to do right. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all that shit. Hit me up on my fucking things if you want to chat. Shop.